Hi, this is Shilpa here. Welcome back. So today we're going to look at how do you add rubrics to your repertorization table and how do you actually perform the repertorization in the HomeoQuest software using different strategies. All right. So I have the HomeoQuest Next Gen offline version here, and the first thing to understand is when you open the HomeQuest software, you have these different tabs where you can move from one tab to the other. The repertory tab, the repertory search tab, the materia medica tab, the quest tab, the analysis tab, and the patient data, right? So right now we are on the repertory browser tab. Okay, now the other part is the repertorization table is at the bottom, and you have the repertorization part to it and you have the quest analysis part to it. Now the repertorization part works, which is the repertorization where the table, it works with the rubrics and when you're repertorizing your cases. However, the quest analysis part, this works only with the quest. So we'll be covering that in another tutorial and how the quest works and the amazing things it does. But today we're just focusing on the repertorization. So make sure that part is activated and that's where you are going to be performing the process. All right. Now, the simple way, to add rubrics is basically you have, the complete repertory here. You have all the different repertories here. You are in the mind section. You see a rubric. You double click. The repertorization starts right away. So it's so simple. Wherever you see a rubric, in the repertory search, in the quest searches, in the remedy analysis, wherever you see a rubric, you double click on a rubric in the software, the repertorization starts right away. That's the simpler part. And, that's amazing. But how do you do that? How do you add rubrics when you are doing a patient case? And so I'm going to actually do a real case with you. So I have a case study by Kent. He's a male, aged 35, a traveling man. He has a past history of syphilis and he came with the following symptoms: numbness in the fingers and sole of the feet with awkwardness of motion, staggering gait. He was walking with a wide base. He could not distinguish small objects with his fingers. His manual motions were irregular and would miss his purpose. His movements were not more irregular by closing his eyes, so closing his eyes did not make it worse. Um, the reflexes, the tendons, patella, the ankle joint were abolished, and he had to wait for a long time for his urine to start. He had fulgurating pains throughout the limbs and the back, and his general health was going down. And he says that he's had these symptoms for 3 months and they've grown stronger every day. His visual apparatus has been defective a long time, but there were no new symptoms traceable to the probable nervous state. Right? So basically, what's happened here is this person has had syphilis, it's probably affected his spinal cord, and he's having symptoms of so-called locomotor ataxia. All right. Now, I've just, you can work this totality in a number of ways. These are the rubrics I think were important, and so I've taken them, right? So, extremities numbness fingers, extremities numbness foot soles off, extremities incoordination, extremities pain stitching, back pain stitching. Now, the stitching was used to express fulgurating pains. You can use it directly. You can look it up in dictionary and you see sharp, piercing, stitching pains, and that's the way I've taken it, right? Bladder urination retarded must wait for urine to start. Now, you don't need to know these rubrics, and I'll tell you why. And we'll first work these rubrics out. Some of the pathological rubrics I might consider in this case were locomotor ataxia, staggering gait, and syphilis, because it's an important causative factor, clinical causative factor. All right. Now, we've done this in detail when I was doing the repertory search tutorial, but I'll do it again. So what happens is I've used these words, or you could just directly use words from here, and you start putting them in the repertory search. So remember, we use the global repertory search because it searches from all repertories. We don't want to go into the browser and start looking for symptoms from each specific repertory. If you use the repertory search, you have a broad spectrum. And I start putting in these words with a space in between. And sometimes I use half words. So the first one I used was extremities numb finger. And I double clicked on, and I press the search button. So I put those words here, press the search button, and so all these rubrics belong to extremities numb finger. I'm going to choose the one from Ken's repertory. Right, so fingers, numbness, tingling. Can you see that? You have about 100 remedies in it. We double click on it and the repertorization starts right here. Okay, now I'm just, because this is Ken's case, we're using Ken's. All right, so the other one is extremities numb foot sole. So I've done the search here. When I put these words here, you have lots of different options from different sections. I'm going to choose the one from the Ken's repertory here. So numbness, tingling, foot sole. We double click on it, and can you see that repertorization is updated? We'll use the third one, extremities incoordination. Again, see, I've put in two part words because we want incoordination in, extremity, extremities, everything together. That's the reason. Again, let's try, this is great, ataxia C incoordination. So we're going to use this one, all right? And we double click on it, and then we get the repertorization updated. Let's look at the fourth one, extremities pain stitching. So I'm going to use that one. And then we have, I'm looking for Kent here. Here it is, extremities pain stitching, double click, the repertorization is updated here. All right, next one, back pain stitching. We have this rubric from the Ken's repertory. There's a reason I'm just using all of them from the Ken's repertory. I'll explain that later. Next one. Now, he had to wait for urination to start. So I've just put the words wait, urine, start. I don't know what rubrics there were, but you can see there are beautiful rubrics coming up here. Urination retarded, must wait for urine to start. From the bladder. In the complete repertory, I want to check if there is something in the Ken's repertory so that I can use it. Well, there is something here, so I'm just going to use it. All right, there you go. The next one. So now we are coming to the pathological rubrics here. Now, for the pathological rubrics, I thought I should try some other repertory. So for the ataxia locomotor, I thought let's use, you have it from the Rogers repertory, you have it from, Clark's clinical repertory. Let's try Clark's clinical repertory because I like Clark, all right? So we double click and we have that rubric from the Clark's repertory. So you see, you can add, different rubrics from different repertories as well. You don't have to stick with one particular because this one is from Clark's clinical repertory now. Okay, let's look at some other staggering gait. Staggering gait, again, you have so many different, this time let's use the complete repertory, all right? So I'm going to use the complete repertory. You double click on it and you have that rubric added here. What else? You have another rubric, syphilis. I like syphilis because it's a causative factor here. And then, okay, where do you want to use it from? Let's use another really small. So this is, just to show you how you can use it from different repertories, different sections. Okay, let's use it from the Rogers repertory this time again. All right, it's a big one. Perfect. So now if you want to check the entire repertorization table, because you see it's hidden there, you have to press on this particular button and you see the entire repertorization table comes up here. Okay, and all the different rubrics are lined up here. Now, when you see a rubric, there are different parts to this. This is where the section name is. This is the entire rubric. These are the number of remedies, the remedy counts. If you just put your cursor there, this one is from extremities Ken's repertory, and this is a remedy count, right? You can look and check the entire rubric by just using the scroll bar here. This, the number here, this is the cross-reference. This happens only in the complete repertory because it has cross-references. So basically when you click on that, you'll see other rubrics which are similar. All right. Now, if you need to delete a rubric, all you need to do is click on the rubric. So say I want to delete locomotor ataxia, I don't like it, all right? And you want to remove that rubric. You see a box comes up here, and you see you do remove rubric, and that rubrics get deleted. Now you want to add it again. So let's go back to the repertory search. Look at the rubric where there was locomotor ataxia, right? This time, let's put it from Clark's clinical repertory, all right? And double click. Well, that rubric has been added here. So it's so simple to delete a rubric. Now, there's one more thing. So we'll just we'll just look at the entire table. Can you see the stars here? This is for the intensity. So if you think there is a particular rubric that has a much higher value or a more intensity in your patient, you can just click on the star. So right now, just one star is highlighted, which means it's intensity 1. You can increase it 2 times by, 2 stars, and then 3 times by clicking 3 stars, right? So this is the way you increase the intensity of a particular rubric, or, you can choose different rubrics with different intensities and so on. So that's one important trick. And then if you click back, you can go back to intensity 1. So right now, I don't know which one is more important. I just consider all of them as intensity 1. Now, there's another important sign here, which is called an eliminating rubric or an eliminating symptom. What this means is when you click on an eliminating, or when you make one particular rubric eliminating, so say I want to do syphilis is for me an important causative factor for this case. And it's a big rubric. We've taken it from Rogers Complete Repertory. So there's like 297. So I want this to be an eliminating rubric. And when I click on that, what happens is we are confining the repertorization to only the group of remedies in this particular rubric. All right. So you just have to be a bit careful, but you use a key rubric as an eliminating rubric. So the remedies, the entire repertorization is now around this eliminating rubric. All right. So that's the beauty of using eliminating rubrics. You can have one eliminating rubric or multiple eliminating rubrics. Okay. So now this is about repertorization, and this is what we are doing in sheet 1. Now you can have multiple repertorizations in your case. All right. So if you see, by default, there are 3 sheets. So which means you can have 3 different repertorizations. However, you can add sheets. So when you just click on new sheet, you have sheet 4, new sheet, sheet 5, new sheet. So you can have as many sheets as you want. All right. Now you are in sheet 1 because that's where your repertorization was. So we're going to just, compress this, and we are in sheet 1. So say you want to now create another sheet and have, another repertorization in that sheet. So say we create sheet 2, and then we start putting in symptoms in sheet 2, the second repertorization that we are doing here. All right. I'm just by default putting in any number of rubrics or symptoms here from wherever I feel is interesting, and different sections you can go in and different repertories. Okay, so you see what's happened here. These are now collected in sheet 2. So whichever sheet you select, you can have different repertorization in those sheets. If you want to remove a sheet, so say I don't want sheet 2, I want to remove it. All you need to do is say delete sheet. Make sure the sheet you need to delete is selected, and you delete that sheet. And before that, I just wanted to help, make you understand. Sheet 1 has our original repertorization. Sheet 2 has our secondary repertorization, which we're deleting. All right. So you say delete sheet, and that particular sheet is deleted. All right. So now we have just sheet 1. So this way you can create unlimited sheets, and the sheet which is displayed here is active. So when you start putting in rubrics, the displayed sheet, the active sheet, will collect your rubrics for repertorization. All right. Now, if you want to be more fancy, you can go and also name that sheet the way you want. So say sheet 1, I want to rename it. And I want to call it sheet 1 as my Kentian repertorization. Okay, we say change. So now this is called Kenton repertorization. All right. Now, say I want to do a separate pathological repertorization. I don't want to, dump all these rubrics, the pathological rubrics in this one. Now, you could, just create new sheet and, name it pathological repertorization. So say I have sheet 2 here. I deleted sheet 2 by mistake. All right. Well, let's do, rename this and let's call it sheet 2 pathological repertorization. All right. And we say change, and then you can start adding just the pathological rubrics from here. So say you want locomotor ataxia, you can go locomotor. What was the other one we selected? Staggering gait. You can, click staggering gait, and the third one was syphilis, and you can just say the syphilis in generals, incomplete, double click, and you have the pathological repertorization here. Right? So you have the Kenton repertorization here, and you have the pathological repertorization with just the pathological rubrics which come up here. All right. Now, there is another possibility where you can duplicate a sheet. So say, for example, I want to play with this Kenton repertorization. I want to remove some rubrics and see how the repertorization changes. So all I need to do is duplicate sheet. Okay, so you have a duplicate now. So you have a duplicate of Kenton repertorization, you have the original Kenton repertorization, and you have the pathological repertorization. And then in the duplicate, say I want to remove the urination symptom. So you just click on that and you say remove, and that particular rubric is deleted. All right, and say I want to also remove pain stitching. All right, we remove it. So now this is a modified Kenton repertorization. So you have 3 sheets now. You have the original Kenton repertorization with all your rubrics. You have the pathological repertorization, which is just the pathological rubrics. And then you have a duplicate where you've played with something and you've got a different types of modified repertorization there. And you can rename it modified one. All right, makes sense. So this is, how you can play with different sheets. You can change them, you can duplicate them, and you can conduct different types of parallel repertorizations. Now, let's understand repertorization criteria. So I'm going back to my Kenton repertorization now. We'll expand it so you have more space to work. Okay, so now we'll check what are the different types of repertorization sorting criteria. So by default, HomeQuest sets the repertorization sorting criteria at total score. So this upper number is the total score, which means this is where this number denotes the sum of the degrees of the remedies in each rubric. All right. So when you set according to total score, the remedies which have the highest total score come at the top. So lycopodium has the highest total score, the highest sum of the degrees of the remedies in this rubric, followed by causticum, alumina, silica, and so on. They are all graded according to the number which is the sum of the degrees in the remedies. Okay, there is another criteria which is the rubric score. So when you click on rubric score, the repertorization strategy is now set according to rubric score, which means these remedies are sorted according to the total number of rubrics they cover. So in this case, alumina has now come at the top. Lyco gone way down. Why has alumina come at the top? Because it covers the highest number of rubrics, followed by causticum, followed by silica, sulfur, and so on. They are in the descending order of the rubric score. So make sense? So this is where there are pros and cons to both. If you set according to rubric score, you get the remedies that cover almost all rubrics or maximum number of rubrics. If you set according to total score, you get the remedies that cover the highest degrees. All right. Now, I personally love the Rubik score because Bonninghausen's generalization approach is all about maximum number of you don't want to eliminate remedies. You want to make sure that they are present in the biggest rubrics and the most remedies are covered. All right. So in this case, I would basically go and use Rubik score and check which are the remedies. I'll choose big rubrics and I'll choose rubrics which cover remedies which cover most of them. And in this case, it is alumina. Okay. Now, let's check alumina because it's an interesting remedy from the Mathematical. All you need to do is click on alumina and it opens up the Mathematical. So you can see here alumina, and these are the different books that have alumina. And there are lots of books which have alumina. All right. And this is your Kent's book. So when you click on Kent, you open alumina in Kent, and then you can read about that remedy. If you want to read it from Boriki, this is from Boriki, and so on. And we'll cover that more in the Mathematica browser. Let's go back to our patient data now and check what's happening. So this was the follow-up. Every 7 days, he got 1 powder dry on the mouth of alumina metal 200C. So this was Kent's follow-up. No other medicine was given. A change for the better took place after the second dose. He took 4 doses in all. And Kent writes in his book, Lectures in Mathematica, alumina has produced affections analogous to locomotor ataxia. Isn't that interesting? It produces numbness of the soles of the feet, fulgurating pains, vertigo when closing eyes, staggering, and disturbances of coordination. With alumina metal, I have stopped fulgurating pains in old incurable cases and improved the reflexes wonderfully, thus showing the general improvement of the patient. So hope that helps. Hope that helps you understand how the repertorization process works. Hopes it helps you set strategies according to the way that you want to. And so this is my basic repertorization strategies, and we'll cover more advanced in the next tutorial. Thank you very much, and hope you enjoyed this case, and I look forward to your feedback below in the discussion forum. Take care.